Good evening. This is the recording of the November 16th, 2023 Bike, Pedestrian, and Transit Subcommittee regular meeting at 6 p.m. in Village Hall, Committee of the Whole room. Starting with item 1, Commissioner Greco, would you call the roll, please?
All right. Ellen Leishman?
Here.
Marianne Greco? Here. Robert Wagner?
Here.
Joe Amore?
Here.
All right.
Absent none.
Great. Moving on to item 2, public comments. There are no members of the public present this evening, so we'll go straight on to item 3, amendments to the agenda. Does anyone have any amendments they would like to make to tonight's agenda?
Bob, I believe you had an amendment to the agenda, or was that for
No,
ECC?
that's for the ECC.
Sorry. Okay.
All right. In that case, I would entertain a motion to. I guess this doesn't require a motion, does it?
We can just
Okay.
move on to the next item.
Then we'll move on to item 4, approval of the minutes.
I would like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from October 26th, 2023.
Second.
With the correction that you offered.
One small typo in section
Right.
6.
Correct. All right. We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion on that matter? All right. Then I will call for a vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes for the October 2023 minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hearing all those opposed, say nay.
Nay. Oh.
The ayes have it.
Yes, there is no nays.
And there are no nays. I believe that.
What's the vocal equivalent of a typo?
A speako.
A speako.
So the minutes are approved. So we'll move on to item 5, business. Particularly item 5A, TIF 7 St. Charles Road recommendation. So I sent out a draft recommendation regarding TIF 7 to you all. I don't think it is worth the time for me to read it into the recording here. It is posted alongside the agenda for this meeting for anyone that is listening at home. This recommendation was something that we discussed at the last meeting. Basically, as part of the discussion for TIF 7, which is the proposed TIF along St. Charles Road, there has been discussion about redeveloping St. Charles, particularly making it more friendly for pedestrians and potentially cyclists as well, which I know is something that I personally am passionate about. I think the rest of the commission feels similarly. And so we wanted to make a formal statement about the matter. And so I drafted this piece of writing kind of formally endorsing improving St. Charles for pedestrians and cyclists. And my intention was basically that, if we adopt this statement or an amended version of this statement, that we could probably share it with the Board of Trustees and maybe read it out loud at any public meetings about the TIF project as well.
This is Commissioner Wagner speaking. I'd like to make a motion to accept this statement, resolution, regarding the TIF 7.
Should we call it a statement or a resolution?
I think resolution is a fairly broad term.
Is it?
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if it was something that only
Yeah.
the Board of Trustees could.
We could call it a statement, whatever it does. I don't think
Endorsement?
It makes it much. Endorsement. Yeah.
Recommendation?
Recommendation. Yeah, recommendation. I think is good.
Sorry. I'll second that. I love it the way it is.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second to approve this recommendation.
So this is Commissioner Wagner speaking. I like what you've done here. I like that you reference the 2009 Village Comprehensive Plan, the 2018 Bike Pedestrian Master Plan. I think that the statement is, succinct. It goes right to the point, and I have no corrections. I think it's well done. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. One thing that I did want to discuss while this is in discussion here, I specifically chose not to use the phrase road diet in this recommendation. The reason for that is while the 2009 comprehensive plan did specifically recommend that St. Charles be placed on a road diet, the bicycle pedestrian master plan in 2018 contradicted that. They specifically said that there is too much traffic on St. Charles Avenue for the road to be placed on a road diet, and so I continued with that recommendation. Now they make that they state in the bike pedestrian master plan that they don't believe it should be placed on a road diet, but they do still believe that other accommodations should be made for pedestrians and cyclists. So that's why I chose not to include that phrase in this statement here. Yes, Commissioner Wagner?
Yeah, I agree with you because some people, members of the public, when you use that term road diet, they scratch their heads.
Sure.
They don't know what a road diet is. So I think saying that we want to make it more, following the complete street strategies, that spells it out pretty well.
The other thing is too, business owners especially feel like road traffic will limit the number of customers who pass their store. The evidence isn't necessarily there. Pedestrians tend to spend more money, but using that term road diet does cause some backlash from businesses.
Sure. Good point.
As we saw when we developed it.
All right. Is there any other discussion of this motion? All right, then I will call for a vote on the motion to the motion to approve the the recommendation that I drafted and presented to the subcommittee here. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those oppose? The ayes have it. And so the recommendation is approved as shared with the subcommittee. I will go ahead and add my signature to this and make it kind of more official, take off the watermark and stuff like that. And then I will reshare it with the rest of the subcommittee. And we'll take it from there. All right. Any other discussion on item 5A?
Just one, Commissioner Wagner, I think the distribution should be to the village manager, village president, and the administrative, the manager's confidential administrative secretary. So, and then they can make sure that everyone else gets it.
You said the manager, secretary, and who else?
And the village president.
Okay. Thank you.
Would you also want to include the public works director, or are you counting on the manager to pass that along?
It wouldn't hurt. Sure, we could do that. I mean, that's a good suggestion.
Let me just make note of that.
Adding public works director.
Okay. Any other matters of discussion on this item? Okay, then we will carry on to item 5B, Villa Park Comprehensive Plan. I added this item to the agenda specifically with regards to this conversation that we've been having for the past couple months about potentially having a it's called a DIY session.
Yeah,
with,
do it yourself,
Meeting,
comprehensive plan meeting.
With-
And I can,
with traffic and safety. Yeah, Commissioner Wagner.
sure. Yeah, Commissioner Wagner speaking. So, the Traffic and Safety Commission met. But time flies. They met this week. No, they met last week. I beg your pardon. And I brought this up again. And it was, I'm gonna use just an expression, it was crickets. There was no interest whatsoever. The chair, and I just wanna state this accurately, the chair of the Traffic and Safety Commission indicated again that he didn't receive any communication that commission should be involved in the process, which is contrary to what I know. So, yeah, there's no interest from them. I mean, we could still, if there's a consensus, we could try and reach out to, the other groups in town. I did watch a meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission this week, and Hauser Levine did make a presentation, just kind of an update about the comprehensive plan. And they were very pleased. They said there's been 685 responses. I can't remember what the name of that mapping tool or mapping.
Oh, map.social?
Map.social, they were saying. And they said it's not a scientific sample, but you can see all the spread of the, who's been responding. And it's more oriented to this, to the southern part of the village, but there's ample responses in the north as well. So they're pleased, and they kind of describe the process going forward. And it's on the village's YouTube channel if you want. It's like the first thing on their agenda. I beg your pardon, second thing on their agenda. But it's a fairly quick meeting, so.
Okay. That might be good to look into. They are still collecting feedback through the rest of the year, though, correct?
Right, correct.
Now, I can't remember, the ECC had their own DIY meeting several months ago. Were all of us in attendance for that meeting?
I was not.
Yeah.
Okay. I do remember that, a lot of bike, pedestrian, transit related ideas were brought up during that DIY session. And so I guess the question that I would have for the rest of the subcommittee is, do we believe it would be valuable to have another session specifically related to BPT ideas? Or are we just scrapping the idea?
I don't have a strong feeling either way. This is Commissioner Wagner speaking. It seems like the responses in the village have been pretty robust, so I'm not sure,
Right, and I do
Yeah.
feel like we have a lot of things that we're working on that we couldn't add more anyway, other than maybe more to the recommendation. So I think we don't need to.
Okay.
I agree.
All right. It sounds like we have agreement on that. So I think going forward, I'll probably just remove this item from the agenda, at least until there is, more active things that the commission can be involved in. All right. Then we're going to move on to item 5C, rail under/overpasses /grade separation. Any updates on this project that we'd like to discuss?
this is Commissioner Wagner. The meeting last week of the Traffic and Safety Commission, Kevin Mantles is normally our liaison, but Public Works Director Mike Guerra came, and he actually did the presentation that CDM Smith did for the village board. And he was gonna, I need to follow up with him, he was gonna share that PowerPoint presentation. Unfortunately, the traffic and safety, even though there was someone here to record it, it's not posted on YouTube. So I assume there was a glitch. But I can't tell you exactly where they are in the process, but they're still refining their, their study with further recommendations. And as Director Guerra said, this CDM Smith has worked with Glen Ellen, with Elmhurst, and they've been successful, so.
Cool.
I wanted to add, Joel Moyer, I was at the meeting when CDM Smith made the presentation of the board, and to borrow your expression, crickets. There were no questions from the board, there was no, request for additional information. And so I was a little, I'm not gonna judge them because it was only a presentation. It wasn't, this is what you should do kind of a meeting. So the next thing I would like to find out is when they're coming back to the board, or if they're gonna have another public information, gathering to determine what course of action the village should take. That would be the meeting that I would hope that we have a presence at, so that we can make sure that the board members, the trustees live up to their responsibilities and choose the correct, the corrected path. I mean, we're still an advisory subcommittee, and we've looked into this. We've passed along our, recommendations, and from that point on, it's their decision. So that's basically the information I would like to follow up on, to make sure that whenever CDM Smith concludes their study, because remember it was only a feasibility study, that's where we should really have a presence.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Do we have an idea of when they are wrapping up their study?
I don't know, it's gonna go into 2024.
Yeah.
And they help with, after the feasibility study is completed, they help with the, negotiation with the UP, they help with finding funding sources, et cetera, so.
So they're gonna be involved for a long time.
This is a long process.
Yeah. I do think it would still be good for us to have a presence when, some of these final decisions are being made, like which road it's going to happen on, and whether it's going to be just a pedestrian crossing or for traffic cars as well.
Right. Because there's been too many times in the past when the board makes decisions that we find out about too late. And then when we try to come back and, make corrections, we're basically told that the process is underway, and we should have been here sooner, even though we weren't invited. It's like showing up at the dance after everyone's gone home.
Well, I'll take it as an action item to watch some of the board of trustee meetings that I've missed lately, to kind of get a better feel for where the feasibility study is, and we can see where we fit into that. Yeah,
Right.
Commissioner Wagner.
Yes, so I don't want to digress too much, but the committee of the whole portion of the village board meeting dealt with boards and commissions and how to interact with boards and commissions, and I didn't watch the whole thing, but I thought it was interesting. And this kind of speaks to what Commissioner Morey said, that's, sometimes if we don't pay attention to what's on the village board agenda, and I'm bad too, I've kind of, sometimes I was watching them religiously, but then you don't get it may, something critical that we should be involved in will escape, our attention, so.
All right, I think those are all good points. Anything else we'd like to discuss on this matter? Okay, then we'll move on to item 5D, Pace Bus Route 313. I added this to the agenda tonight because I think last time that we discussed it, we were kind of thinking about brainstorming any sort of events that we as a commission might be able to do that would encourage usage of the bus route. I think there were none that really came to the top of our head last time, but I don't know if anyone had any brilliant ideas since we last talked about it.
Nothing new. Trying to coordinate something where Yorktown is involved and provide something to make it more festive. I still don't know how much public we would get on something like that.
Yeah, I feel that we'd be, much more likely to get public involvement if there was some sort of like direct tangible value that we could give to participants.
Yeah.
Like if we could subsidize the bus fare, or if we could, I don't know, give them a discount on lunch or something. But I don't know. It would be a lot easier to consider something like that if we had a more concrete idea of the sort of event that we would like to do. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
did you want to say something?
Yeah, so I think I'd mentioned at a past meeting, I communicate with Chris Rose, and Commissioner Morey's communicated with her. And I asked her, what do other communities do to promote, usage of their pace route? And she didn't have anything for me.
That's a
Who
shame.
did you ask? I'm sorry.
Chris Rose,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She's,
and I don't recall what her title is.
But she works at Pace.
She worked for Pace, yep.
Okay.
and following up on that, she did tell me one time that they have a planning group. So perhaps if we have something posted for residents to say, to provide input to the planning group, how could you change or improve pace service to the village so that it would benefit me? And, put that on their awareness, because whether I heard it here at this meeting or a different meeting, that PACE funding is gonna really face a lot of difficulties in 2024. And I've always made the argument that if you wanna increase ridership, you gotta increase service. You can't cut service and then wonder where the people went.
Agreed. Now, your idea of surveying the public, the Active Transportation Alliance, according to Bob last meeting, is making that fiscal cliff a priority. So I have no doubt that they will be soliciting all kinds of feedback. And they're a larger, more powerful organization than we are, so I feel like we should just pay attention to the numbers they collect.
But
They'll work with us. They'll give us anything we ask
right,
for.
but if we could provide a local flavor, that would probably be beneficial to the work that they're doing.
Well, we can certainly publicize any surveys that Active Trans is hosting amongst the village here to make sure that Villa Park does have a decently loud voice in that survey.
Because we do have multiple routes, Pecan Roosevelt, 313, and maybe we could ask Donnie to put something in just as a reminder to the residents, make them aware that PACE is going to be looking at all their routes, look at all their, they're going to look at their resources in the next calendar year, and people could go to this website to provide input. on, for whatever reason, and get the public more involved. Not have to take that on ourselves, since they're the one that's gonna be getting the most benefit.
Yeah, Commissioner Wagner?
Yes, so I think doing some social media posts might be good. It might be worthwhile to invite Tom Marcucci to a meeting. I don't know if he would come. I mean, he lives in Elmhurst. He is the DuPage representative on the PACE board.
Mm.
It might be an interesting, have him make a presentation. He probably doesn't get invited out that much.
Right, and then invite the public to join
Yeah,
us.
I mean, people, Tom Marcucci, who's that?
How do you spell him?
What's that?
How do you spell it?
MAR,
Marcucci,
Okay.
Marcucci, yeah.
Thank you.
Marcucci, Marcucci.
Well, backing up slightly, the ridership on the bus or an event, maybe some kind of scavenger hunt or, I don't know, bus rally, like a road rally.
well, my work history is in public transit. And one of the things that always brought the people out was pub crawls.
Is what?
Pub crawls. And if,
Okay.
maybe we could take advantage of the fact that we've got all these great bars on Villa Avenue and get, like for example, when they had the Brew Fest, that's something I didn't see anything about, that Pace was offering, additional service or, come ride us to get to the Brew Fest. I mean, that's a fail on their marketing department, because those people were coming from every which way. So maybe we could at least get together with Pace and get it on their calendar for next year and help them build ridership.
That's not a bad idea. 'Cause, then you're encouraging people to not drive when they're drinking. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'll take as an action item to reach out to Tom Marcucci about if he has any thoughts on the matter and whether he'd like to come to a meeting.
And I'll call Christine Rose and see if I can get a contact for someone who might be more agreeable to answering questions. And you can just get that, I'll pass that information along to you.
And I'll also do some studying of the route because, there might be like a couple. I mean, More Brewing is right there on Villa Avenue, but there might be other breweries along the way that we could, might be interested in partnering on something like this. Any other thoughts on this matter? Okay, then let's go on to item 5E, Villa Avenue Improvement Project. Any updates we'd like to discuss on this?
I don't know. There's another public input meeting coming up in 2024, but I don't think a date's been nailed down.
I believe it's January, but I don't have it in front of me. But we could discuss it next month. I did have a question though. When I was going through the minutes, I wasn't in attendance. There was it was said that in the minutes that a brief discussion including the difficulty using private infrastructure and that the train traffic there is too low to make it a priority as far as my inquiry about changing the way the path crosses the tracks. I don't understand who made the statement that said that the train traffic is too low. I think that's in direct conflict with the fact that the village is actively pursuing some type of train vehicle separation. They wouldn't be doing that if train traffic was too low.
I don't have the minutes
Yeah,
in front of me,
neither do
but I believe that comment was probably made in reference to the Canadian National Rail, not the Union Pacific.
Right.
Yeah,
I
Canadian, I think you're right, Canadian national
Yeah.
traffic is much less than,
And that's a given. And I have a kind of like my ear to the rail, if you want to make it
Sure.
to that. And traffic is going to be increasing throughout the area because of this Canadian Pacific acquisition of the Kansas City Southern that was approved through last year. So there's direct talks right now between UP, Canadian National, and another railroad to have some type of cross-border traffic coming through Chicago. So although volume might be set at a certain level now, that could change.
Sure.
And my issue with that Canadian national train is that the track topography is situated in a curve. So you don't, if the gates come down, you can't really see an approaching train until it's right there. And they go pretty fast, considering, I think they've upped their speeds to 40 miles an hour on that track. So it's not gonna come lumbering along, and I just don't wanna see people take unnecessary risks. I watched a parent lead 3 kids on bicycles across the UP tracks one day, although the gates were down, there was an approaching train, and he's trying to get them to go in front of the train. If I hadn't stopped them, they might have just done that. They were afraid they were gonna get stuck. The same thing could happen at the next crossing.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone on this commission is in favor of safer rail crossings. I don't think you'll face any disagreement on that. I think those particular comments that you pointed out in the minutes were in regards to some of the specific ideas that you had emailed to me and I presented to the subcommittee, specifically with regards to running the Salt Creek Trail behind the private property there along the river, and I think basically everyone on the committee here came to we're concerned about how difficult it might be to acquire that property
Right.
and use it for public purposes.
No, I get that. And the complaint was made that if you put it on the east side of Villa, you're gonna have conflict with people leaving the driveways, including the bus company. So by inquiring about some type of possibility of using unused land, or maybe there might be property, I've never gone back there, but there might be county-owned property behind that, beyond the fencing. I don't think their property goes right up to the water's edge. So it might be possible. I'm just trying to consider the argument that we don't want the interactions between traffic and the driveways, that's all.
Yeah, well, and one of the things, and the counter argument was that it's very likely private property and difficult. So it was just
Right.
it was just a discussion.
Yeah.
With ideas being put.
And I can check into that a little bit more. Now that I'm home.
Yeah.
All right.
The one other takeaway from that conversation was, it's also in the minutes there, but from my personal understanding, and I know there's some disagreement on the committee about this, but from my understanding, Salt Creek Trail is not DuPage County owned. It was started by Elmhurst and other municipal governments, and so even if there was county property back there, I'm not sure that could be incorporated with the Salt Creek Trail very, very easily. Commissioner Wagner.
I had to interject that I was actually present at the first meeting about the Greenway Trail. It took place at Oak Brook Village Hall. And
Sorry, apologies to Oak Brook. I don't mean to
many,
credit.
many years ago. Yeah, many years ago. And it's a multi-jurisdictional, multi-county endeavor. It was just not. DuPage County.
So there's
Basically,
not one grand master who,
No.
Basically, everybody just
Oversees it.
agreed to keep their stretch open and maintained.
right.
I believe
but-
it's largely a bunch of park districts.
Right.
Yeah,
So somewhere along the line, the original planning for it was a joint venture, but there's no direct entity that governs it or, directs like standards or how they want it routed or anything like that.
No, I don't believe there's like a central oversight of any sort.
so maybe at some point down the road, we should investigate our portion of it and see what improvements we can recommend. But obviously, when there's bigger things like Villa Avenue improvement coming up, we should definitely
Right.
consider the trail because it has become an
Right.
important pathway.
And the main problem is the fact that what we're discussing right now is definitely in Elmhurst. So it's
Oh.
not Elmhurst, it's not, really don't have the authority to make, suggestions and considerations.
Yeah.
Elmhurst proper,
Yeah,
Now, they have a park district, they have a bike and, they have some type of bike committee, don't they? Maybe we could ask them. to
Yes.
look into it.
We had a member of their, I can't, what they called it. It's a very kind of awkward name. I can't.
I know who you're talking about.
but weren't they talking about the bridge over 83? Weren't they talking about another bridge over 83 by the Portillos?
No, that was farther north, that was
No,
north of North Avenue.
no, but well, I can't remember his name now.
No, I just was remembering that being a discussion a while back.
Yeah. No, they got approval for it, then it didn't
Right.
happen.
Well, I mean, they might still be in the works. It takes a long time to plan and engineer those things.
Yeah, it was supposed to cross between North Avenue and Lake Street.
I think it's
Oh,
called
okay.
Walkers and Rollers or something like that. Some strange name.
Yeah,
I believe
yeah.
it's a younger organization than
Right,
we are.
exactly, right.
Okay.
Ah, okay. Well, anyway, all right.
All right. Let's carry on then to item 5F, the Tri-Trail Connector. Any updates on this project? Commissioner Amore?
I drove through it today and it's well underway.
So I asked Director Guerra at Traffic and Safety Commission about it, and construction will not be completed this year. It'll be completed in 2024.
It's still exciting to hear that it is started. That's the hardest part on a lot of projects. Anything else we'd like to discuss? Okay, then let's move on to item 5G, suicide prevention signs. Commissioner Amore, this is largely your project.
I inspected the station today and some of the other areas and the signs are still unchanged. The recommendations that were made over the summer and a year ago have not been taken up, although Public Works has admitted that they're aware of them and it's basically not a priority with the staffing issues they're having. Which, I mean, that's my interpretation of what I was told. Because they were very attentive, they did attend to changing the old 800 numbers to the new 988 number. However, the sign for the northbound traffic on Villa that was knocked down about 8 months ago has still not been replaced. It's in the concrete island. So, I mean, you can only tell them, you can either just keep reminding them, we can just keep reminding them and hope that they follow through. If you'd like, I'll keep checking with Mike Guerra and seeing how it's going.
You said it was the sign at Villa Avenue that's been knocked down?
There was a sign, yeah, it's missing, it's in the concrete island,
About 2 months ago.
yeah.
Okay.
So
I think it was an accident that took it out.
No, it was more than 2 months, because I reported on it over the summer, so, but be it as it may, it's still not there.
Well, that's a shame.
But you said the suicide prevention signs, the phone number's been corrected.
The phone number was immediately corrected. They took care of that last year within a month of me bringing it to their attention. At a board meeting, it was like in July, I believe it was.
Okay, well, that's good news. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else we'd like to discuss on this? Okay, then we'll move on to item 5H, DuPage Railroad Safety Council. I added this item to the agenda because one of the things that we talked about last meeting was Commissioner Wagner suggested that it would probably be valuable to have a report from the Railroad Safety Council when they have their regular meetings. And so we wanted to ask if you, Commissioner Moray, would be willing to provide those sorts of reports.
Oh, absolutely.
Where relevant.
I'll tell you what, if you want to leave it as an agenda item at the end of the meeting, because they only meet once a month. They usually meet the Saturday before our meeting. It's usually the third Saturday of the month. And I'll restrict my comments only to things that would directly apply to Villa Park or your community in general.
Right. So the next meeting is this Saturday, and I think everyone here is on the distribution list for their meetings. They did send out the minutes from the last meeting, but somehow I was searching for them, I couldn't find them. Who sends out the minutes?
Stephen Laffey.
Who's it?
Stephen, S-T-E.
Oh, okay, Stephen Laffey, that's right.
Laffey.
Yeah, so I browsed through them, I did,
I'll forward it to you.
no, I've got it,
Oh.
I get it, I mean, we're all getting the emails, so it's, I just wanted to, now, are you still the treasurer?
Yes.
Okay,
And, I mean, just for the record, we're having a board meeting the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. And I'm bringing up the initiative that the safety message that is currently posted on the Parks and Recreation website. We're gonna take that statewide. I've got the legislative help lined up.
I didn't quite hear what the first part you said,
The safety message that's in the Parks and Rec
okay,
handbook.
gotcha.
I'm looking for approval to take that statewide. I've got the legislators lined up to take it to for 2024 when the new session comes in. And I can bring up anything else that you would like if the board, to the board. We don't meet very often. It's usually once or twice a year. However, they are offering grant money for rail safety projects.
So who is this again?
The DuPage Rail Safety
Safety Council.
Oh, okay, all right.
So,
And they do it very rarely,
yes.
from what I understand.
So should the opportunity present itself for, say, anything that would help the Great Separation Project, I can make a presentation to them.
Do you know offhand like the rough size of those grants?
It's as an ad needed basis,
Okay.
based on what's in the treasury.
I would ask for about $10 million.
Yeah.
It's always a good start.
Well, I mean, I guess
Jumping
the
off
idea
point.
is, it doesn't sound like an organization that would have,
They don't.
hundreds of thousands
No.
of grant
No, they don't.
dollars.
What, they have about 40K in the
It's not
bank?
even, I don't know what it is, it's a little over 60.
Come on, you're the treasurer.
Well, I
man.
know,
You
but
should
I'm saying, it's a little over 60.
Okay, okay.
Because some of the projects we need are so big that,
Right.
40,000 is not.
But see, that's the thing, when you present this things for funding, there are some things that the village has to cover before any grant opportunities are awarded.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I see what you're saying. Use
Even
it
if-
for a feasibility study or something.
even if we could get money to help propel it along to get to the grant funding process.
Or like, even smaller projects can improve the safety of the UP West through our
Right.
town. I mean, like, if we thought there was locations where we'd like more of those suicide prevention signs, that could be a potential use for smaller grants,
But it shouldn't be for lack of resources that they're not putting them up.
No, I'm not claiming that that's the reason. I'm
The-
just,
The feds provide the template.
yeah.
They have a sign shop
No,
right downstairs.
I was just citing that as an example of a smaller budget project that can have
Right.
a big a big impact. Okay, well, thank you for agreeing to giving us
No,
those
by all
reports. Let's go ahead and move on to item 5I, cost of commuting in Chicago. So this was the name that I gave to the article that you shared with me, Commissioner Amore. And so you wanted to bring this forward for discussion, so I'll open the floor to you.
I don't have it up because I shut my phone down because I was expecting a few calls. I didn't want to be interrupted. But the fact is that it was from, I believe it was from the 3rd. Sometimes I believe I sent it to everybody. And if I didn't, I'll resend it. However, they did a good article on people finding out now that they're basically going back in person, that it's causing significant impact to their budget, you know. And so any improvements we can make to help people cut costs. I mean, I just saw gas next door is up to $3.48 again. You know, I don't know what's causing the jump because it's everywhere we were traveling. It was in the upper $2 range. You know, it's like $2.95, things like that. You know, it could be just this area. Maybe they're switching to their winter blend, whatever excuse they want to throw out there. But parking's prohibitively expensive for a lot of people. Ubers are expensive. You know, cabs downtown are non-existent now. I mean, rarely can you find a regular badged city cab.
Yeah, Commissioner Wagner.
So with regards to, I read the article, and my thought about this is there's a growing sharing economy. So ride sharing, car sharing, bike sharing, divvy. I worked for a car share company. Unfortunately, it's a long story, but so the sharing economy is a thing of the future, and part of the reason for that is younger folks that live in urban areas don't necessarily want to own a car. It's a big expense, as the article, and that's the reason there were only a few car sharing companies. Now there is many of them. So the sharing economy is one thing. There is an organization, and I was just trying to search for it on my phone, that deals with mobility, and mobility is the first part of the name, but it has to do with the coordination of different means of mobility, micro-mobility. You know, if you have a car share and you get to a certain point, how do you get to your next, how do you coordinate? So there's people that are working on this issue, and the economy is changing in response to the changing demographic. So I don't know what we can do personally. Can we tell people parking is free in our metro lot? I don't think that will work.
Well, it's not.
Or we can't recommend it, and I think.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but
Parking your bicycle is free at Metro.
parking your bicycle is free.
And that brings up sorry to interrupt, but that brings up an interesting idea. Has there been any effort? Now, I suggested over the summer that we improve the lot by restriping it, by putting in car chargers. Has there been any consideration of reducing the parking fee to bring people in that would be normally parking at Elmhurst or Lombard?
I don't know. I don't know if they've studied that or not.
What would be your, so if you're trying to draw in people from Lombard or Elmhurst, that will increase the ridership numbers for Phillip Park, but it's not going to change the number of people that are taking the train. So
No.
what's your goal with that?
Well, to build, to bring people into the community,
okay.
to increase revenue at the parking lot. Cause you're charging $3 a space and 40% of them are empty.
Sure.
You might be able to charge $2 and have only 10% empty,
Yeah.
I don't even
No,
think
that's-
it's ever been approached, brought to, the village has even considered it.
I think there is some regular consideration of the rates that they're charging in those lots, because I remember there was some discussion months ago at the Board of Trustees about, I think, creating like a monthly plan or something like that. Like they were changing you're able to buy a parking space on a monthly basis. There was something about that changing. So like it is something that the village considers.
Yeah, and the village has done things to reduce their cost for administrating. We bought
The kiosk.
special software for license plate recognition, so you don't have to kind of expedite whoever checks to make sure that all the, people are paying their parking fees.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know that there is some correlation between what we charge and what it costs to maintain the parking lot.
I guess it wouldn't hurt to try to contact the trustees to see if anybody has ever suggested it in a board meeting.
Well, I think we need to look at, would reducing the cost of parking increase ridership on Metro? Because
Yeah.
I think
Well,
Ellen pointed that out earlier. That's our goal, is to get people out of their cars
right.
as much as possible.
Well, but it would relate to our transit,
Well, yeah.
I mean, we're not getting them out of their cars if they're driving downtown. We're getting them out of their cars sooner and using less gas. So. I mean, Metro's changing their schedules.
Well, that was what I was saying. We need to see if cheaper parking would get more people to use Metro.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought it was an interesting article. I appreciated how they like broke down the expenses, both by like, how much you spend on gas, but also how much you spend on buying lunch and like, and even like regular maintenance of your car. So kind of my takeaway for the article was like, not so much that there's like, specific action that we needed to take as a subcommittee regarding it, but like, I do think it gives us some good statistics to throw at people when we're engaging with the community, saying like, oh, they had a statistic in there about like, the average annual expenses of driving a car versus someone that uses public transportation. And it was kind of astonishing. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I think it was like $18,000 a year is what the average car ownership costs, taking everything into consideration. But then if you take public transit, it was like $1,700 in annual expenses. So it was really not even comparable. So yeah, thank you for sharing that article.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, let's move on to item 5J, community outreach and education. Are there any events that we did this month that we'd like to discuss? Or upcoming things that we'd like to discuss?
This is Commissioner Wagner. I think we should, obviously we don't have time at this meeting, but May is typically bike month. And trying to put some activities together for 2024 for bike month. Specifically
In regards to the community as a whole, or the school children of the community?
That too, yeah.
Okay.
School
Everyone.
children, bike registration. I'm still working on trying to get this movie that the library is interested in showing. So other activities involving. There will be one smart cycling class in May through Parks and Rec. Rite of Silence is in May as well, I believe. I'm trying to recall.
That sounds right.
Yeah. So just maybe we could brainstorm next month about what we can do.
I'll add that to the agenda for next month. Only thing that I wanted to bring up during this section was, I think last month we were planning that we'd like to have a presence at the December North School PTA meeting regarding a bike/walk to school day. I know Commissioner Wagner, you volunteered for that. Is that still something you're interested in doing?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I'm also going to try to attend that myself, but I'll have to check my calendar. Any other outreach things we'd like to discuss?
Well, we had talked about a Golden Shovel Award.
Oh, sure.
So
yeah.
I did email what I hope is a very thorough document. I looked to see what other municipalities were doing.
So
I didn't. Oh,
sorry, Commissioner Greco. Just to interrupt for the recording, I think the Golden Shovel has largely been discussed in ECC meetings at the past. This was one of our. It's a more pedestrian-related goal of the ECC, so I think it's perfectly reasonable to discuss here. I just wanted to introduce it for anyone that
I see what you're saying.
might only know BPT stuff.
Right, because it does feel like it's far more appropriate here because it is about sidewalks and mobility and. So yes, we had talked about creating some kind of award to encourage people to keep their sidewalks clear and businesses. I did some research on a few other cities. The document I gave you has links to some of the other ones. It seems like many of them would do it for a year or two and then it would fade away, which tells me it might not be terribly manageable. And about half of them, it was more about awarding people who were helping their neighbors who weren't able to shovel their own snow. One of them was a friendly competition among Main Street businesses. So every year this giant shovel passed from one business to another. I still think it's worth a try, and I proposed several different ways it could look. Rather than, and I'll try to be brief because I know time is running out, but we could just simply do media shout outs. Anybody who gets noticed by the public or us somewhere, a social media post, a scrolling ticker on the village website, just some kind of ongoing shout outs is a very maybe simple. And then with some kind of maybe press release at the end listing all of them. Or we could award it to whoever gets the most nominations. We could have people nominate with a fairly detailed description, an essay, and then we, the committee, would pick a winner. Or the other one I found that was interesting was anyone or business who is nominated is entered in a raffle to win prizes at the end of the season. And that was kind of fun. And one of them was like greens fees. We could get the golf course to give out some greens fees, give a comp some greens fees or some pool passes, gift cards, the usual stuff. A functional snow shovel instead of the ceremonial one. So I don't know. I don't think we're ready to launch it yet because I have so many questions and feel like it requires some consensus. December may not be too late to do it if we want to review the document and discuss it in December. So that being said, my social media post was supposed to be about shoveling and maybe introduce this December 1st to December 12th. Since I don't feel like this golden shovel is ready, I'm not going to announce it. I was just going to take the social media post as the Bike, Pedestrian, and Transit Committee is going to encourage people to be neighborly and friendly and help people and just help keep the sidewalks clear. So I was going to take that angle about think about your neighbors, think about the community, and clean up your darn sidewalks.
Commissioner Amore?
Just following up on that, I just want to remind you that last year it was put into the Village Matters, the village requirements for keeping sidewalks clear and reminding everyone of their responsibilities and asking that they could help out a neighbor if it's okay with the neighbor. So I don't know if I haven't seen the winter edition. So
Yeah, it's
probably
was
finalized
released,
at this
I
point.
think
Yeah, I
it
don't
was released last month.
Yeah, so I don't know if they even put that in there for this winter, but considering the
so.
fact that it's maybe the online version, they could add it, add it somewhere.
Guidelines should be posted, hold on. When I send out my social media post on behalf of this committee, I'll mention that if they could somewhere reiterate or remind people what the rules are,
Right.
what the village ordinances are about that. Yeah, I'll just make a note when I do that.
Commissioner Wagner?
Yeah, so I think it's a great idea. We could start small. We could start with maybe the Villa Avenue Business District because they have, they're more compact,
More foot traffic.
right? More foot traffic. So it might be, we might want to, start there.
Sorry, say that again, please. I'm sorry. I was
So
trying
the Villa Avenue Business District,
Uh-huh.
which is small and compact. And those people meet sometimes. I mean, they've met in the past about parking.
Mm-hmm.
But that maybe if they have a meeting coming up, you may want to talk to them about
Yeah.
that.
Oh, like just amongst themselves have an award for the
Right.
best summertime.
Exactly. We could start small with them and see how it works. See if it's effective.
Is there a Villa
Um,
Avenue Business Association of some sort?
Pardon me?
Is
Yeah.
there a Villa Avenue Business Association of some sort?
The businesses there do coordinate on things.
Right. So the
So-
Halloween, the Halloween costume,
Yeah.
the trick or treat event.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. Tony Odo from Michael Anthony's may have been in charge of that, or may have led that group. I don't know.
Can you get me do you have any contact information that you know of? All right, well, I'll make
Yeah,
it
I can
one of
send it to
my
you.
action items to try to find that.
Yeah.
Because I like that idea, and it does give us a smaller jumping off point.
I like that. One other comment that I wanted to include is I still like the idea of rewarding like residents in the village as well.
Mm-hmm.
But if we want to start smaller and just focus on Villa Avenue, that's totally understandable.
Well, let's, I'll see what I can find out from the Villa Avenue businesses. And if we want to just kind of review my document and discuss it in December, I think that's still time to create the program for this year.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So, okay.
Yeah. Leave it on there. Snow removal is an agenda item.
Yeah.
I mean,
For the next 6
weather's
months.
got us all sandbagged. We're thinking, hey, winter's not gonna be here. It could be here as late as next week.
All right. Any other outreach items we'd like to discuss? Okay, then we'll move to item 6, commissioner comments. Let's start with Commissioner Greco.
Let me see, do I have additional comments? I just thought it was interesting that there's like 4 cities that get, what is it, the APWA Award for Excellence in Management Administration of Public Works Snow and Ice Operations. Evanston was one of the cities that got it. So I don't know if we have the resources, but it would be fun to try to get that award. And no, that's all I have for the meeting.
Commissioner Wagner?
Yeah, just very briefly, I did sit in on the Metra bike work group, and just this evening, I forwarded the link to the recording. It was pretty interesting. It was a quick meeting. It was only a little over half an hour. They're experimenting with different ways to hold the bikes, to how to store the bikes on the bike, on the bike cars. They talked about communication, and sometimes the difficulty getting bikes on board. There was a discussion about the new rail cars that are coming sometime in the future, which are more accessible. I believe they have one less step, so it'd be easier for bicyclists to get on board. And it's not just bicycles, it's scooters too. So it was an interesting meeting. once again, they're experimenting with, how to store the bikes, different racks, et cetera. And then there's a survey attached to that email. And they're gonna meet again in January, and anyone is welcome.
Cool. Thank
And
you.
that's all I've got.
Commissioner Mori?
I just would like to add hope that we can add as an agenda item in December. It's been our regular thing in the past to try to expand the hours that the metro station is open during the cold weather months. We had, the hours are posted on the doors. I stopped by there today. I'll stop by again. And, it seems to be just the Western Portable, the portal is still available, which is all we're really asking for. I know there was some pushback with Public Works, or Parks and Rec, because Parks and Rec does the cleaning there. But they don't have any access to the waiting areas on Sundays at all. And most of it ends in mid-afternoon when it's coldest at night and there's still people out there waiting, so, please put it as an agenda item for December. I'll monitor it and see what action needs to be taken.
Okay, I'll do that. I have no comments this evening. Do we have any comments from village staff?
No.
Okay. Then I would entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. Mr. Wagner.
All right, we have a motion to,
I'll second.
Commissioner Mori seconded.
I'm sorry, I'm behind.
That's
Okay.
okay.
We have a motion on the table to adjourn this meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Meeting ended
At
Thank you.
time 7:07.
Right?
at 7:07.
Okay, I'm gonna call the meeting to order for the Environmental Concerns Commission. And I'm gonna say it's 7:08. And Commissioner Draconis, since we're recording this meeting, could you call the roll?
Let's see. Joel Amore,
Here.
Alan Leishman,
Here.
Bob Wagner,
Here?
Marion Greco,
Here.
Mr. Guerrero.
Present, yes.
And Commissioner Hill has an excused absence. I did not hear from Commissioner Lambert Wesolowski. So, okay, so we have a quorum. I'm gonna move on to public comment. I thought we were gonna have public comment this evening, but I see there's no one here from the public. I'm gonna move on to item 3, amendments to the agenda.
I have a request to add for the next track update. I have some information.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
The next trek, that scarce project to collect the plastic bags.
Yes,
I have a little update, so I don't know where you would like to put that.
it's actually item 5F.
Is that a new? Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry, I'm looking at the old one. Okay,
Oh, yeah, I can see.
So Commissioner Amore did contact me by email regarding polystyrene collection, and I responded that I would put that on the agenda. So I would entertain a motion to put polystyrene collection on the agenda.
I'll second it.
Well,
I will make the motion to add polystyrene collection as item 5G to the agenda.
Okay.
Oh, it has to be motioned and then seconded. Okay, I'm still seconding. Seconding.
Okay, motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of adding 5G to the agenda, polystyrene collection, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that item is added to the agenda. I'm gonna move on to the consent agenda, approval of the minutes for our October 26th, 2023 meeting. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes. Commissioner Leishman,
I'd like to move to approve the minutes of the October 26th meeting.
is there a second?
Sure, that seems to be my role today, seconding motions.
Commissioner Greco seconds the motion. Okay, discussion, I just have, go ahead. Commissioner Leishman.
I had a couple amendments I would like to make to item 7 in the minutes. I believe Bill Cargis's last name was misspelled. I believe it's Karges, not IS.
Okay.
And then the second thing that I noticed, I believe in the minutes it stated that I brought up a bicycle movie that's looking for places to be shown. I don't believe that was me. I think that might have been Commissioner Wagner. But I might be mistaken.
No, I did bring that up.
Okay. Those are the only amendments I would like to make to the minutes.
And first of all, I want to apologize to you. I should have contacted you when I got the minutes, but the only correction that I would like to make is cooking oil collection will be at Salt Creek Sanitary District. That's in item 5E.
Got it.
And otherwise, I mean, you do a wonderful job, Ellen, and we appreciate it, and we appreciate Mary Ann as well. So,
It's fine. But they,
I can't say it enough, so. Okay, and are there any other corrections? Okay, so all those in favor of approving the minutes as corrected, please signify by saying aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. Okay, we're gonna move on to our business portion of our meeting. Item 5A, report of the Bike, Pedestrian, and Transit Subcommittee. Commissioner Leishman.
Thank you, Commissioner Wagner. This evening, we talked about a variety of things. First item on the agenda was the proposed TIF 7, which would be the TIF on the St. Charles Road area. As part of that proposed TIF plan, the village is considering significant redevelopment of St. Charles Road, including potentially making it more favorable to pedestrians. And so I presented a draft statement, a draft recommendation for the commission to make, specifically endorsing making St. Charles Avenue more friendly for pedestrians and bicyclists. And that was adopted by unanimous consent. So I'll be sharing that with the Board of Trustees as well as village staff. Then the next item on our agenda was the comprehensive plan, specifically in regards to, we had discussed in the past meeting with traffic and safety and having a joint DIY meeting to present our suggestions for the comprehensive plan. It seems that traffic and safety does not share our interest in that, so we are not going to be moving forward with that. Then we had various updates about the grade separation project, Villa Avenue improvement project, the Tri-Trail connector, and suicide prevention signs. I don't believe we came to any other major decisions at the meeting, and so I think that's all that needs to be presented to the ECC at this time.
And since Director Guerra is here, we indicated we were gonna send you a copy as well of our
Yeah.
recommendation.
Expect an email.
Yeah. Okay, Commissioner Leachman, thank you.
Share that with Director McLaughlin. Sure. He's the TIF administrator.
Yeah, that's a critical person we should copy as well.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna move on to item 5B. Review, I put this as review of goal setting session, but this is with regards to our specific goals for our areas that we're interested in. Anything new on that front from anyone?
Well, I do believe mine was the snow shoveling, sidewalks, et cetera, and I did propose several ways that the golden shovel for keeping sidewalks cleared could be implemented. Though I feel like that is primarily a bicycle pedestrian transit subcommittee item. So until we've finalized something, I won't discuss it more. And then my social media post for December 1st through the 7th will be taking the tack that the bicycle pedestrian transit committee asks you to be neighborly and keep your sidewalks clear. It'll be something along those lines, appealing to their human nature, neighborliness.
With respect to my area was water, and I did send an email to Donnie about a social media blast about the cooking oil collection, because cooking oil, making sure that does not get poured down into the sanitary sewer, definitely an issue. And I'm working on two others. Specifically with regards to flushable wipes, because flushable wipes are a big issue for sanitary districts. It's just a big problem. Flushable wipes are not flushable, despite how they market them. And I did join the Illinois Water Environment Association. And I went to a meeting, and I can share that at the end of the meeting, but, yeah, I'll be working on a couple other things for Donnie to, post in social media. Anyone else on this?
Yeah, I believe mine was composting and sustainability. We still have free yard waste collecting through December, the first week of December. I put it out to Donnie, Public Information Officer, about what's acceptable from, LRS sent us a listing of what is acceptable to be put in yard waste. That's still going on. Once the yard waste stops, you can, if you want to collect it yourself and take it to Sustain the Page out on Geneva Road west of Main Street, they collect all year round there. There's an area in the back. I can get maps for you. I'll drop a map so you go straight there, or you can just find a spot in your yard to keep it through the winter months so that you can have it available for you in the spring when the planting season starts.
Regarding my topic of climate change related goals, I plan to post about the ComEd home energy efficiency seminar that's going to be occurring in early December, I believe. And I'm going to take credit for that as being a climate change related thing, even though
Yeah.
I had no role in planning it. I appreciate the library stepping in. Yeah, I'm still doing some research on what might be a good. One of the other goals that I had was with regards to, soliciting the public to sign some sort of climate-related petition. I'm still doing research on that and don't really have anything to share at this point.
So, Commissioner Leachman, I did send out an email this evening I don't know if you saw it. It had to do with a Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus Environment Committee meeting.
Oh, yeah,
There's a group at Argonne Laboratory.
the crocus. group.
Crocus, yeah. So that may be something. I've got it on the agenda, so that relevant to your area.
Absolutely, yeah.
If I may add something, I believe I passed this information along, but if I hadn't, in my conversations with LRS, bags and plate, like dishes and things that are marked compostable, they do not want in the yard waste. Currently, there are no facilities in the state of Illinois that will accept them because they take too long to break down.
Okay, anyone else on this issue? Yes, Commissioner Leishman.
I just wanted to verify, it looks like you have moved discussion of the social media post to item 5D. Is that your intent for the agenda?
Well, okay, these are just activities, so 5B is our goals or.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I in the past couple months, we've discussed like plans for what we'd like to do for the next month of social media posts.
Right.
Is your intent to make that a part of item 5D in this agenda?
Yeah, I could probably have merged these together.
No,
Yeah.
I appreciate that they're separated.
Right.
I just want to make sure that I understand that that is what 5D is.
5B is right, is our goals, our specific goals that each one of us have staked out, if you will.
Then what is 5D?
5D is just activities that we're gonna be doing that are upcoming.
Okay.
And maybe I didn't word that properly.
No, you're fine. I just, in previous months, we've had discussion about the social media posts as part of the goal setting session.
Right.
I think it's perfectly fine to either discuss that now or as part of 5D. As long as we're fine coming back to it at 5D.
You're looking for like, who's gonna do week one, who's gonna do
Yeah,
week
exactly.
two?
Oh, okay, yeah.
If we still think that that's a valuable discussion to have.
I think it is for now, maybe
Yes.
until we get used to it. So under communication makes sense to me, D.
Yeah, we can revisit it in 5D.
Okay. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
That's okay, I spoke completely out of order then, so there you go.
I didn't recognize you, so. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to item 5C. Recap of Pumpkin Smash. And I think it was successful. We had 77 families bring pumpkins in. We collected 3.27 tons of pumpkins. We didn't fill the dumpster up, but it was pretty full. Just my observations, the way they handled it in Lombard, they had their pumpkin smash at the Commons. I'm not sure who was in charge of it, but I noticed that there were multiple groups that partnered with them. There was their park district, other groups, and it might be valuable. It might be beneficial for us to say, hey, well, let's partner with the Villa Park Junior Women's Club. Maybe they would be interested in helping promote it. They also had a banner on Findlay, which I think was, beneficial. I don't know how they did in relation to us, but I think that's something we should think about doing next year.
The
And
banner?
just some added fun activities. I mean, it's amazing how much fun the kids have just smashing their pumpkins. But I think Mary Ann suggested putting like a bullseye on the side of inside of the dumpster, so that they could.
Yeah, or have some music, or if we're brainstorming while you were talking, I was thinking about have somebody dressed in a pumpkin costume. just walking around like a Disney character.
You have to be careful you don't get thrown into the dumpster.
Commissioner Morey.
So, were there any leftover pumpkins from any vendors? Did they bring, like, I know gotten them in the past from Walmart and Fuel and Creme and some other places, Jewel. Did anybody bring anything for us?
So, on Friday, I did 4 trips to Jewel, because they had unsold pumpkins, I got those. And because of I'm gonna call it the consternation last year with using Public Works trucks to collect pumpkins from Fuel and Creme, I left them to their own devices and they somehow got them over. So,
Good for them.
yeah. Surprise, surprise.
I like the idea of the bullseye. If we have somebody that has an artistic bent, maybe they could put a big open mouth with a hole, and get it in there, And, because really, I don't know if she showed up this year, but was it a year ago that the lady that had the pig farm that came and wanted whole pumpkins to take back to feed to her livestock? And maybe we could get a giant pig's mouth open, and then just say, here you go, feed the pig. That's like playing that commercial for saving. We're saving the environment.
All right, I think we have some really great ideas that
Yeah,
we
the
can
only
bring up
problem is trying to
closer to
lob-
next year.
Trying to lob a big pumpkin into something
Yeah.
like that is gonna
Yeah.
destroy it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So, it's an interesting idea, but. So, Commissioner Leishman.
I know we didn't collect this. We know we didn't collect as many pumpkins as we did in previous years, but I thought it was still a very successful event. 77 families was more than I expected to show up. The one other suggestion that at least I received from the public while we were there was there were several people that asked if we could do another pumpkin smash later in the fall once people are done decorating their houses for Thanksgiving with pumpkins. I know that's not, Scarce is the overall organization that organizes this collection, but maybe we can pass that feedback on to them as well.
Commissioner Greco.
Well, can't they put pumpkins in their yard waste bags?
Yes.
Yes.
So we could publicize that, or maybe next year let the families know that.
Do you think, from your perspective, if it was left at the curb on trash pickup day, that it would be taken by the yard waste people, or would the garbage man grab it?
That's probably a good question. I think they prefer to be in with the yard waste, so whether you're doing your can or your bag, just because of the collection services. I mean, LRS does a great job of picking up outside and not leaving things outside containers, but that one might be who's last or
Or-
who's first, maybe.
Yeah.
With their drivers. So I don't know if I could provide an answer, but I do. I think when you had asked before and we reached out, they did say they prefer to be in with the yard waste so that it goes in the collection properly, the organic material.
Right.
I did observe, I ride my bike to work every day, and I observed a giant pumpkin with the trash in the morning. And I came back and the trash had been picked up and the cans were out and the pumpkin was still there. So they're not picking up whole pumpkins.
Or maybe he was leaving for the yard waste. Because the yard waste guy comes later in the afternoon.
Yeah, I was not paying attention to the other yard waste bags on the street.
Yeah, because they didn't come today till after 4 o'clock.
So my observation is if you put that in your backyard, it's eventually gonna disappear.
Yeah. Yes. Save the squirrels a trip. They're probably
Yeah.
already in the backyard anyway.
Yeah.
That's the one I noticed was I did notice a squirrel with one of the little mini pumpkins trying to run across the street with it.
Funny.
Did you get a picture?
No, I was driving and He came kind of scurrying out from the car with a big pumpkin, well, not big, but
Yeah. It was, yeah,
a mini
being-
pumpkin which is good, big size for him.
I think that might be a good thing for next year, to just tell people. If you didn't, you wanted to keep your decoration, then you have
Right.
two options. Put it in the yard waste bag or put it in your backyard and let the squirrels feast.
That's fine.
Okay, anything else on this issue? Okay, I'm gonna move on to, item 5D. And I did pass out this little, just a picture of what we've got coming up. So, cooking oil collection, on Saturday, November 25th. I'm working on getting a sign to put out on, outside the gate on, on Route 83, so that get some added publicity.
I have another one.
So I intend on being there. I don't know how many people, if, I'm not sure if you wanna spend 3 hours there. It's pretty much just accepting the cooking oil. So I'm perfectly happy doing it myself, but if anyone wants to join me, that's fine.
I would love to help out, but unfortunately I'll be out of town.
Okay. And Salt Creek Sanitary District is such a lovely place to hang out.
Scenic.
Earplugs double as nose plugs, just remember that. Earplugs, nose plugs.
You get used to it. And then we are all set for the tree. I filled out the disbursement form for our Tree for Joyful Traditions, been in communication with the new director for the Chamber of Commerce. And so we're all set for the 28th. The North School students are gonna decorate the tree on the 28th.
3:30.
And the trees will be up and.
They are up.
And lit, pardon me?
They are up.
Wow.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah.
Okay, wow, I didn't notice that.
I don't know if they're lit. I mean, they're not lit tonight. They're just, the poles are lit. But I don't know if the lights are on the trees, but the trees are up.
And I did mention to the new director that we would collect any lights, that they were removing, that they were not gonna reuse. December 13th, as Commissioner Leishman mentioned, we've got the presentation we're sponsoring in partnership with the library, a presentation by Susanna Strangmeyer from ComEd about home energy efficiency. And then in January, it's been publicized in the Village Manners that we're doing our Green Champion Award. And I can already think of someone that we could nominate, but
Save it for January.
yeah, save it for January, right? And typically, the cutoff is our meeting in March, is before our meeting in March, and we vote on the recipient, and then we make the presentation at a village board meeting, at the meeting closest to Earth Day. Okay.
Can we just go back to the joyful traditions? Can I pick up the ornaments that you have in case you aren't there?
I'll be available, but I haven't been able to go through them yet, but I'm off next week. So I will make sure that weed out anything that's not,
And you think, yeah, if you can't make it, then just let me know.
okay. And it's at 3 o'clock, correct?
3:30, I think.
3:30, okay.
I think. I'll double check.
We should make a point to contact Chris Fox.
I have that on my
Okay.
thing for the okay.
Okay, so we want to discuss the calendar for posts and activities coming up?
Yeah, I think that makes sense under this item.
Yeah,
So, yeah, on the calendar so far, we've got stuff through the rest of November, basically. And then I believe Commissioner Greco was also planning on posting about shoveling in early December.
Yeah, the first week of December, I have, in my notes, I have it would be for posting 12/1 to 12/7. So I plan on getting it to Donnie Paisano before Thanksgiving, so he's got time to
Makes sense.
set it up, yeah.
Unfortunately, there's not a lot of environmentally related holidays in December, based off my assessment. Basically, the only one that I see is World Soil Day on the 5th, which would be the same week that you're already planning on posting.
I could move mine a week back, shoveling it, doesn't look like we're gonna get snow.
Well, now we're gonna get it for sure.
I know, I
Tomorrow.
just jinxed it.
Get the trucks warmed up.
Yeah.
Well, do you think it's just flop the two?
Yeah, I think that could work.
Okay.
If someone would like to post about World Soil Day here in a couple weeks.
You said World Soil Day was the 5th?
It is the 5th.
yeah. I just want to interject. There's a member of the Video Production Commission, which has kind of been having some problems with meeting, but Mark Paulson, who's a member, he has a YouTube channel that deals specifically with videos that he produces on soil, and they're really excellent. And I can't remember the name of it, but I think if you search YouTube for Mark Paulson, Paulsen, he has a lot of videos about composting, about soil, etc. It's really excellent.
But it sounds like you are looking for someone to volunteer to take World Soil Day. Okay, well then I will just keep the shoveling one on the first week of December.
I can do World Soil Day.
Okay.
So I will. So that'll be on the 5th. So I'll need to get Donnie a draft the week after Thanksgiving, at the latest.
Depending on what goes on with this eco plastic bag, the schools are collecting. There are people, so that could be, people are gonna be going out shopping. There'll be a lot of plastic bags.
Yeah,
That's true.
So I can do that. That's coming up like the 18th then, right?
For
The week of the 18th?
Yes. The other thing that I thought of for December is I wasn't sure if we would like to do some advertising of the fact that we are trying to save the lights off the Joyful Traditions trees. I don't know if our regular post would be the best way to do that or not, but
it's actually a good, December, because what I do is I take them to Scarce.
yeah.
Or we could also drop them off at our electronics collection, but that's going to cost the village something. So I'd rather we just take them to Scarce.
Also, the courts in Elmhurst collects them.
What's that?
The courts in Elmhurst collects them.
You say the courts?
The courts, yeah, the exercise place. It's a park.
Oh,
the
the
one that's
courts.
behind Portillo's.
I thought you
courts.
meant like the courts.
I thought
out
the
reading.
No.
Judicial court.
Yeah.
No. The courts, the exercise, it's Elmhurst Park District.
Okay.
They collect them there. At least they have in the last 2 years.
But I have a question, are we gonna have some kind of information put out for Christmas tree recycling? Or is that the village just relies on LRS to do that?
Yeah, the village typically posts something about that because there's a special collection of Christmas trees.
Yeah, I'd have to research, but I believe there's a time frame that you would have to put them out next to the curb and picked up as part of the regular solid waste.
Yeah, there's kind of a small window.
I think it's, usually like the first week of January or something.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
I mean, there's a time frame to allow people to
Right.
go through the
And if
whole
you got a
season.
live tree, you don't want it in your house that much.
No, and there's restrictions, like you gotta remove the lights and things like that.
Exactly, ornaments, etc. Right, yeah.
Gee, we could do a Christmas tree smash.
Bonfire.
Burn, yeah.
Ooh,
That'll go quick.
Pine is terrible by a
Yeah.
fire.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
goes in a second.
Okay, so I can write one up for I don't know what he's gonna do that week between Christmas and New Year's, but saying the lights should not be thrown in the garbage when you're undecorating.
Yeah, I can't remember from previous years. Do the Joyful Traditions trees normally stay up all the way through the new year?
No, they come down around January 5th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, as long as we message in that week between Christmas and New Year's, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
So that still leaves us with a vacancy the week of the 18th, if anyone's got any ideas.
Well, we can move the lights up and skip the week of the 25th. And then the plastic bag thing, that's all year round anyway. So, okay, I'll move that up.
So you're thinking that the 18th for the light recycling,
And just, yes, for the lights,
and we'll give Donnie the holiday off between
Yeah.
Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah, and will people be really paying that much attention to their social media and that?
Depends on how they feel about their family.
Yeah. Yes.
I think that sounds like a good plan. I know historically we have sometimes skipped the December meeting of the ECC.
Right, we typically do not meet in December, so if there is, this is
Right.
probably not I mean, if there's I mean, we've got a lot going on in December, so I'm perfectly happy not meeting.
well, we can do this after.
My point in bringing this up is, would we like to discuss a plan for early January as well, since we're not going to be having another meeting before that point, likely. There are some more holidays to work with in January. There's National Bird Day
National Bird Day,
on the 5th, yeah.
okay,
And there's the International Day of Clean Energy on the 26th. If those excite people.
well, clean energy, that would fall under your,
I knew you were gonna say that.
Walk right into that one.
Yeah, no, I can do that. I'll plan on doing something for the 26th Clean Energy Day. That might be something about energy uses in
and
Illinois.
when is National Bird Day?
The 5th.
The 5th, January 5th.
Yeah.
That's a weird,
I'm trying to figure out tie-ins to my walking agenda. You know.
Yeah, birds don't do a lot of walking.
No, I mean you could walk and bird watch, but that doesn't sound real safe in an urban area like this or suburban.
Typically, January is great for bald eagles, but we don't have
that's true, that's a good
rivers.
point, yeah,
and
yeah.
This sort of habitat that other
Yeah.
portions of the state have.
I'm willing to take that on. I'm willing to
Okay.
see if I can find some interesting post. I'm just trying to think of an angle.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be some grand call to action. It could
Right.
just be, we have this many bird species in Illinois, you know?
Yeah. Or what to put in your bird feeder
Yeah,
over
sure.
the wintertime.
Yeah,
Oh, bird feeder tips. That's a
Yeah,
good
bird
one.
feeder tips, yeah.
that's a really good idea. Maybe we'll think about doing another golden shovel related reminder in January. if we have something up and running.
Yeah, but if we're not meeting in December, are we likely to have finalized the program?
Fair.
Because I don't know if we can be allowed to finalize it without having a meeting, so.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Now, if we've not had any snow, we could finalize it in January.
You just keep jinxing it. You're determined to get it to snow on Thanksgiving.
I'm sorry. But let's definitely talk about it in January, even if we don't implement it until next year. It's just, we'll be that far, much farther ahead, so.
Yeah.
But, social media posts,
You mentioned that the plastic bag recycling is going to be in full swing, right?
Okay.
Theoretically.
Let's just put that, that's coming up on the agenda, so I hesitate to talk about now.
Okay.
But,
Apologies.
but I'm happy to write something about it. Because it's apparently an ongoing project.
Okay.
So we can say, that's a periodic thing that it can be every 6-8 weeks
Sure.
to remind people, just to
Okay.
take them to the schools.
Well, how about we pencil in the first one for either the week of January 8th or the week of January 15th.
Okay, I'll do these.
Okay.
Okay, anything further on this? I think we're, okay,
I think we've run out of ideas.
okay.
do we have a week in January that doesn't have a social media post?
The 15th.
Because I was just trying to come up with ideas that tie into my whole walking thing. And I mean, I could come up with like tips for walking in cold weather, get out, stay healthy. I could come up with something to encourage people to walk in the cold. Okay, so I will take that week of January 15th.
That would be great. Thank you. How to penguin waddle.
And of
Yeah.
course, that it'll be like unseasonably warm that week, right?
So you're gonna update the calendar then?
Yes,
Okay.
I will. I will add items for all these in Trello, and if people would think it would be helpful, I can also add it like in the ECC calendar that we share, so that we can remember this 2 months from now.
Oh, it'll be here too. In
Sorry,
the
what's that?
minutes. But I need reminders. So the Green Champion Award, the 29th, we could do that.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I don't think we can't promote that enough. I mean, it's just,
Okay. Cool.
okay, I'm gonna
Okay,
move on to our.
I'll do that.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to move on to our next agenda item, 5E. And I apologize for sending this out so late, but I attended a Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus Environment Committee meeting, and they pretty much, with a couple exceptions, have all been via Zoom. And they had the director of this organization called Crocus, which is Community Research on Climate and Urban Science. And her last name is Negri, Negri, and I sent the link to the recording, and it was a really excellent presentation. They have been primarily focused on the city of Chicago and certain areas that are disadvantaged, that have been affected by the siting of different facilities that are, and usually in poor neighborhoods. So their acronym Crocus, they're looking for areas to collect information, to collect data about climate, temperature, the whole gamut. And they have some very sophisticated equipment they have that they can send out. And what they were saying is they're looking for communities to collect data. And they mentioned, near a major highway, and in the chat I said, well, Phillip Park would be a great location. And it came up that this is also could be a educational opportunity for school children. And they've done this in the city as well. But when you listen to the program, it's very in depth. I'm leaving out a lot of information, but they have, once again, they're looking for, and they were major contributors to the Regional Climate Action Plan. So it's, they're part of Argonne. Argonne is one of 17 national laboratories. We have 2 in Illinois. Fermi is the other. And I thought this would be a great thing for us if we could get them to, have a data collection site in Villa Park. So I didn't want to jump the gun. I didn't want to say, yeah, let's. So I wanted to bring it to the commission. I don't know if you want to watch the video first, but it's, first of all, where would we put one? Maybe we put one near a school. I don't know.
I think we put one in my backyard
Okay.
on 83.
Oh, there you go.
Whoa.
All right.
I'm offering. I got a tree that we can hang it in. Okay.
Yeah, I guess my question was like, do we know how much space they need? Like, are they just looking for a safe location to put these, or are they,
I think they're looking for. It doesn't take a lot of. I mean, I saw in the presentation. There's, photos of what they. It's not a big. I mean, it's not. I'm going to say, maybe it's 10 square feet, something like that. I don't know. But it's a rain gauge. It's a temperature gauge. It's all the different, elements of climate that you would want to collect data for.
Now, my sister has a small, like bread box size weather station mounted on her garage that feeds into the National Weather Service or someplace. It's someplace that collects data nationally, and she can go online and look at the temperature at her house, or anybody else's. So I don't know. It sounds like this is a similar thing.
Yeah, I think 10 square feet may be exaggerated, but it's fairly compact.
What all is it measuring? It's measuring temperature, it's measuring.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you everything, but it's measuring. It's measuring temperature. It's measuring rainfall.
So does it
They
measure
were
like
the way
noise
they were
pollution?
discussing it. Very sensitive equipment, so it can detect emissions. It can, I would assume greenhouse gases,
oxygen levels, stuff like that.
oxygen levels, et cetera. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'd like to look at this and see more about it before we.
I'm sorry, but
I'd like to
Watch the video.
watch it.
yeah.
and
I mean, we
see.
can defer that. I mean, I just thought I would bring it to the. I mean, it was really interesting, and if we could get one here, I think it would be great.
Do they have a time limit? A time?
I don't
mean, are
think
they-
so. No,
They're
didn't-
just adding communities.
Right, they're adding communities. They're looking for sites.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I used to be a scientist that worked at Argonne. I think it sounds like a great project. Very in line with my climate change related goals for us as a committee. I think it would be good to reach out to them. If they want a location that is going to, encourage more engagement with the community, I think a school makes a lot of sense.
Right. When they were discussing it, I thought of there's a lot of open area near Jefferson, that wouldn't necessarily, impact a athletic field.
Sure.
And the other thought that comes to mind is, what about a rooftop area? I don't know.
Yeah.
Rooftops are certainly more secure than, something on ground level.
It'd be different though.
Right, but then again, how do you
than the
take
corner
children up
here.
on a rooftop, it's,
Oh, you mean for the educational part?
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas if they want something that is like next to a major highway, I do think Commissioner
Yeah,
Dragonis's backyard
Well-
might be a perfect location.
Boy, I'd love that.
I mean, not on top of the highway, it doesn't have to, but we're close to, the 290, 294, we're close enough
Sure.
where we could, Route 83, of course, so,
No, I think it'll be good to start a conversation with them.
right. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some answers to some of the questions that have come up. Space, security, et cetera. How many are they looking to deploy?
Yeah. Maybe we can all have one in our backyard.
Right, exactly. Okay, so we'll table this until our January meeting then. Okay, I'm gonna move on to item 5F, update on the D45 Echo Club plastic bag collection.
So it's not moving, of course, as quickly as it looked like it was going to, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 schools. 5 of them are doing the program. 4 of those 5 have accounts already with Next Trek.
They have what?
Accounts with Next Treks. And the kids are involved in the weighing. So what happens is people bring the bags to the school group weighs them and keeps a record of that. Then they take it to the Jewel and get it recycled. And then they are building up points to get the bench or benches. I just got this, so I now can contact these teachers who are being the sponsors for the groups to see if they need us, or what they need. Because I asked, what do we need to do? What is our job in this?
This is Commissioner Wagner. You mentioned a name, you said Next?
N-E-X, T-R-E-X.
Next Treks. Are they the ones that,
They provide the benches
okay,
once they have collected enough.
The benches are probably made out of Trex decking
I'm
material.
sure,
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know what our role would be in this. Because they don't want us to go there and weigh them. They want the kids to do that.
okay,
Then, is it, like right now, Kay said she has 22 bags, plastic bags out there. Now, I can contact one of these schools, I can go and pick them up at Scarce and drop them off at a school, 22 bags. I couldn't do that before I knew who was involved, but I can now. And then what would be our role? And I'm thinking it's gonna be mostly PR. I'm sure the schools themselves are sending out things to the letting the kids know. so the parents know to bring it in. But there are a lot of people in the community that don't know about this. And that's where it's at.
Could we do bag collection at any of our events? And then
Oh,
give it
that's
to
a
the
great idea,
school?
yes.
You know, bike valet, we could just have people drop off plastic bags at the bike valet. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, my thought was that, I thought maybe we could do a collection at Pumpkin Smash, but we never got details. Bring your plastic bags in. So, I'm still kind of fuzzy on this whole thing. So the kids bring the bags to school, correct?
Well, yes, I mean, we could drop them off. If you have some, you could take them to Westmore School and drop them off. Anybody can drop off the bags, then they weigh them, and they keep track of that on their next Trex account, I guess, and then they take them to the Jewel. Now, is that something?
And how is Jewel involved in this? Does
They
Jewel-
just do the recycling.
They
They
what?
are only receiving the bags to recycle them with their regular collections.
I see. And I should mention, when I collected the pumpkins from Jewel, there are big bags of plastic bags behind Jewel. So maybe they were sitting there waiting for someone to pick them up, I don't know.
I don't know, I would guess Next Trex comes and picks them up, but I don't know about that.
So, we're collecting the bags go to Next Trek. And then
The bags go to the schools.
okay, but do the bags ultimately go to Next Trek?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
pretty sure, yes.
And theoretically, they're going to make a bench out of them.
Out of some, whatever
Yeah,
they get,
right.
right.
But they've
whoever's
already
they
made
get.
benches, there's a bench waiting to be.
Right, yeah, but the
Yeah.
idea is that
Just keep-
the benches are made of recycled plastic bags and.
Right.
It's a competition.
I'm sorry, Mike, I didn't hear what you said.
It's a competition,
Right.
so it's, if your team can collect more than 1,000 pounds in a 12-month span, you'll get awarded a Trex furniture bench,
Oh, it's 12 months, so there's a limit. Whoa.
according to their website, yeah.
1,000
Okay.
pounds of plastic is a
Are you
lot.
on the Next Trek work website or?
Yes,
Okay.
they have a brochure.
Ah, okay.
So, I have a question. So, for those that still shop at brick and mortar stores, the shopping season starts next week. Could we have a collection point at Joyful Traditions to take to the school? And put it out there to bring your plastic bags to Joyful Traditions?
Yeah, we could.
Do we know, are there any restrictions on the types of bags or plastic?
Yeah.
I ask because like at work, we go through so many cases of pop and it's the big ones that come wrapped in plastic and they just throw it away and it makes me crazy. So can I bring that shrink wrap plastic that comes around?
The ones that like encase a 15-roll pack
Yeah,
of
Yeah,
paper
the-
towels?
Oh.
I always put those in.
but is that really allowed? I do it too, but is it allowed?
It's a
I
good
will
question,
forward
because it
this
is,
brochure to
Okay.
it is, yeah, okay.
Chairman Wagner, and it has which types of bags that can be. 'Cause
Okay.
they're looking for, what do they call it, soft plastic or something.
Which is
The
not,
film plastic, I'm sorry.
So like dry cleaner bags.
Like bread bags.
Bread
Dry
bags.
cleaning bags.
Bubble-
Newspaper sleeves.
Newspaper sleeves.
Bubble
things
wrap,
like that.
bread bags,
Bread bag, yeah.
cereal bags,
but not
Ziploc.
not what's going around.
Ziplocs okay?
Yeah.
Cool.
The unofficial test that I've always been told was that if you can stretch it, it's acceptable. If you can, if it tears, then it's not.
Yeah, this is a nice brochure though, and it outlines the.
I will say that
And that's on
some
the
plastic
Next Trek
bags
site? Okay.
have a recycling symbol on them, and it says the number of plastic that they are.
Mhm.
Not all plastic is like that.
Yeah.
So Ellen, do you think that, Commissioner Chakonis, do you think that doing a collection of plastic bags at Joyful Traditions would be helpful to them?
To one of these schools, for sure.
Okay,
But then we have to get the word out.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, this is Mr. Greco, two questions come to mind. Which school do we choose to support, and how do we get the word out?
well, this is Commissioner Wagner, I think it should be a Villa Park school, you know, I mean, Ardmore comes to mind, Ardmore North School.
Well, that's just it. There's more than one school in Villa Park, so how do
Right.
we, unless we just divide the bags evenly among the
So,
schools?
question for Commissioner Chakonis, are the middle schools doing it, or just the
This right now is only,
elementary?
yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Well, Commissioner Leishman, I'm not trying to overcomplicate this, but if we have people that are coming to Joyful Traditions and bringing their plastic bags, we could have them vote on where it goes to.
Oh, yeah, that was simple, just a simple, write it on a piece of paper and stick it in a box.
Yep.
Yeah.
Winner takes
Or you
all.
could have separate boxes for each school.
Now we're really overcomplicating, but no, I see your point. And then add a raffle prize, so when they vote for a school, then they entered in a raffle.
well, if you eliminate Jefferson and Jackson, there's only two.
Two schools.
There's Ardmore and there's North School,
Oh, okay, yeah, so,
so that's pretty easy.
Well, North School is doing our ornaments. So that, which doesn't make any difference because we can get Ardmore involved. Okay.
If there's, Commissioner Leishman, if there's only two schools that we're really considering at this point, I think my vote would be just to split it between them.
yeah,
Sure.
agreed.
But that comes back to the point where we do need to publicize this
Right, exactly.
very soon.
Yeah.
So do we want this to go out on Facebook like the other things?
I mean, we could create a Facebook event, for Joyful Traditions. Tree lighting, bag collection, we could do that.
Do we have enough time? Well, I guess
Yeah.
it's,
That's
yeah, it's
true.
coming up really quick.
It is coming up really quick. Well,
If we,
if we only collect a little bit, I mean, it's still gonna help them. That's my thought.
we do have time to give Donnie a week notice. As long as we get, say if we wanted this post to go out, the 29th, that would mean we'd have to get the draft to him the day before Thanksgiving. So it is feasible if we wanted to post about this.
No, this is part of my deal here. I mean, this is the goal, since my multimedia goal has been taken care of. I can do that.
Way to go.
And I can talk to some people and get some more answers, now that I know who I'm talking to.
So this is Commissioner Wagner. A question for Commissioner Chakonis. Do you have a listing of all the teachers that are,
I do now.
You do, okay.
It's like minuscule here, but yes. Yes,
okay. Because I thought with regards to this issue with Crocus, it might be good to, make contact with one of those teachers.
well, we can do that, but it isn't gonna be up to them.
No, I know that, but I mean, just to get someone to say, here's this idea, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it might be good to say, okay, this Teacher Smith thinks it'd be a great idea. I mean, if I would go to the administration, if we would go to the District 45 administration to say, hey, we're thinking about this, here's an educational opportunity, we need we need this much room, your echo teacher, your echo club would benefit from it. Well, I can talk with you afterwards about
Yeah, because
that.
I'm not understanding for Joyful Traditions, we just put a box out and collect bags.
No, but I was getting at the specific teachers that are in charge of the echo club.
The people that care about the benches might be the same people
They
that
might
care about doing crocus.
Exactly.
Oh, I
right.
see.
These are equal groups. These are groups in each of the schools. That's their purpose. Now, I know North Schools is sponsored by the Kiwanis helps with them. And, yeah.
Those are builders clubs, right?
Yes. I don't know if all of them are builders clubs,
Okay.
but I know North Schools is. I haven't heard of them. I think they were trying to get into Ardmore, but I don't know if they have yet.
I don't want to
Builders
digress
Club.
too much, but believe it or not, there's a builders club at Stevenson. And those are pretty little kids.
Yep.
I
Second
thought
grade.
I thought that was interesting. Okay, so
Stevenson is on here.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to check with the schools, if they need anything, if they want our help on anything. Just offer that we know about it and we'd like to support it, but I'd probably be checking with all the schools. And then also look at this, what the restrictions are on the bags.
Yes. I emailed it.
Okay.
So
I'll
I think you
forward
gave
it to
me the emails,
everybody.
but Yeah.
Okay. And then write the article for Donnie. Is that my list? I have to live by list. Okay.
And this is Commissioner Wagner again. Commissioner Jaconas, you're going to handle the communication with
Yes.
the Donnie Pisano.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, this whole program is a little bit clearer to me now, so. Okay, I'm gonna move on to unless we have anything else on that, I'm gonna move on to item 6. We have no public, so therefore no public
No.
comment.
Oh, wait, we have G.
Oh, I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. 5G, okay. This is the polystyrene collection.
Correct. Okay, this is Commissioner Maury. I contacted DART unsuccessfully this week, so I got a hold of the person in Village of Western Springs who is in charge of that. Her name is Daisy. She basically told me that the pilot program started back in 2017. They have a contract, the village has a contract with DART, but she wasn't sure when the contract was up for renewal, and is gonna get that information back to me, because I only spoke to her today. So it was a multi-year contract with the village. It's collected on the first weekend of the month at the Western Springs Recreation Center, 1500 Walker. It's managed by the First Congressional Church Green Team. They're the ones that attend the site from
Congregational.
Congregational, from 9 to 12 on the first weekend of the month. They only accept item stamped number 6, has to be clean of any food waste or stains. And Dart supplies the bags, in the clear plastic bags that they're collected in. And it's picked up the following Monday. She's gonna get the contact information for the person that she deals with in this matter, and I'll get that back to you. They do accept items brought from people who are not residents. However, I'm reluctant to put it out there that people from Villa Park can bring stuff to them. I feel more comfortable posting the Dart location in North Aurora, that people can take stuff directly to them if they have an outdoor area that's outside of their security fencing, that you can just put the different items in. And I'll get back further information now. However, my wife is still collecting this stuff from the Lombard Garden Club. I'm still collecting it. And I've invited anyone here to bring it to the meetings, and I will still take the trouble of taking it out there when I have enough of a collection. So I could continue to do that for the time being until we get more information.
Okay. Commissioner Greco.
Well, I just wanted to thank you, Joe, for doing,
Yes.
Commissioner Amore, for doing that. And I did not realize that I could bring you styrofoam every week. So, yeah, I have quite.
Just bring it to the meetings.
Yeah.
I'll have a.
You have a place to store it?
Yes.
Until, well, I appreciate that. Yeah, we just got a large item that had a lot of styrofoam packed around
Right.
it. So, thank you.
So this is Commissioner Wagner. So Dan from the Congregational Church, he organizes the volunteers.
Correct.
But the relationship with Dart is handled by the village.
That is correct.
Right.
They have the contract.
Right.
I'm dating myself here, but I remember when we collected recyclables behind Jewel, before we had curbside pickups. And the Boy Scouts were there every month or every week, gathering all this stuff, and it was just a drive-through drop-off kind of deal. So there's always community groups that are willing to do this if you can find them.
Right. So this was an agenda item, I don't know a couple of years ago, and former Commissioner Schieffer looked into this. She went out to Western Springs. We talked about it. This was an agenda item for several months, and I didn't go through our minutes, but my recollection is that we talked about this, doing a collection, and the issue is space. Where would we store it? And I can't remember who I talked to with staff, but that was their concern as well. Just to kind of backtrack a little bit, when the General Assembly changed the law about electronic collection, our commission, the Environmental Concerns Commission, actually for about a little over a year, between April and November, we actually handled the collection. We did electronics collection out here in the parking lot. We palletized it, we shrink wrapped it. There was a staff member available with a forklift, we would move stuff around. And it was a big operation. It took a lot of effort. So if you're suggesting that that the commission take on a monthly collection of polystyrene, I think there's all kinds of problems with that. Number one, I think it's certainly a great goal, but do we have the people to staff it? Do we have the logistics for storing it? You mentioned a contract. I'd like to see the contract. So once again, we talked about this at length, and and I mentioned this in my email, that not this last time, but the prior spring sweep, we decided we were gonna collect polystyrene as part of spring sweep. And I contacted DART, they said, we'll send a truck, and then at the last minute, they said, no, sorry, we're not gonna send a truck. And I said, well, you're gonna send us bags, so I had to plead with them to send us bags. And at our last spring sweep planning, there was no, objection to not collecting polystyrene again. So
Well,
if you're advocating to collect polystyrene, that the commission take this on, there's lots of things that will have to be worked out. I mean, how are you gonna staff it? Where are you gonna store it? If people can take it to DART, or they can take it to Western Springs. And I didn't talk to, is it Dave or Dan? I can't remember. The guy that runs it.
at
Pardon me?
Western Spring,
Yeah,
or,
I don't think they refuse anything from another
no, it
community.
was Daisy that I spoke to.
Right.
Okay. Well,
So there's lots of details, for us to bring this back to see if we wanna do it again. It's kind of a big effort to do it. You can't just say we're gonna do it this month and then not do it again,
well, and this is why it's being discussed, because protocols might have changed since 3 years ago. I wasn't on the ECC back then, when, I think,
What was
if
your
I'm
name?
not mistaken.
What's that?
Maybe 4 years ago, but,
Yeah.
This is when Justin Schlensky was the chair.
Yeah, who was the woman who was doing the research? What was her name?
Margaret
Margaret.
Schaefer.
Schaefer, yeah.
Schaefer.
Okay, Schaefer.
S-C-H-I, yeah.
but, I'm thinking outside of the box, and I'm thinking, well, if there's a way that they could supply us with some kind of, not necessarily bags, maybe a bin that we could put the bags in, that could be out of the way and coordinated with electronics recycling, because the natural, if you wanna call it flow, you're taking your old TV set to drop off, because chances are you just bought a new one that's full of that styrofoam packing. And we're in the holiday season now, so that's why I even brought it up, because I'm trying to think ahead of the game. And because of the contract, because of people might not be in that position anymore, maybe they've changed the rules, maybe they don't, maybe there's actually finding value in having more communities accept it, maybe they're more willing to offer more favorable terms. That's why I'm taking this on. So I'm by all means not just suggesting that we vote on doing it without providing you with more information. So I will have that information to bring to you in January.
Okay.
If, this is kind of tangential to that, but the other thing Margaret Schaefer had talked about when we were discussing the polystyrene recycling was that even recycled styrofoam is not that great for the environment. Like it's there, and I don't remember what she discussed, but major environmental groups recommend avoiding polystyrene completely rather than trying to create recycling loops and streams.
Right.
So, I mean, it exists in the world, we have to deal with it, but our efforts should equally be trying to reduce the creation of it in the first place.
Or use.
Well, use would reduce creation,
Yeah,
yeah.
because you go to a restaurant, you still get it oftentimes
Right.
in a styrofoam box.
But,
Yeah,
to that point, I am seeing changes. Like, for example, the last couple of times I was in a restaurant, I got a paper straw, not a plastic straw. I'm seeing more stuff packed. When you unpack the box, there's more cardboard instead of styrofoam.
right,
Inside,
yeah, and it's happening, but
It's
still,
being dealt with, but
yeah.
I'm just trying to give them another opportunity to collect it instead of it ending up in a landfill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see this contract.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, number one, if we have to commit to signing a contract, that has to go before the
exactly.
village manager, the village board. Yeah,
And I think that any efforts we make to recycle polystyrene should have parallel efforts to reduce the use.
yeah. When we were discussing this, we thought that Lufkin Park might be a good place but yeah, I don't think that's, yeah.
For collecting styrofoam?
It might be a good location because it was open. I mean, we were just talking in general terms. Where would we do a collection? It had a parking lot, fairly spacious parking lot. But ultimately, my recollection is that we'd said,
Right.
let somebody else do
It
it.
was not doable, but possibly it is in the future, so I'll look into it and I'll report back.
Okay,
But promoting the North Aurora facility would make a good social media post.
That's correct.
okay, so you're gonna bring us back more details in January.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, now I'm gonna move on to item 6, which there's no public here, so we're gonna move on to item 7, commissioner comments. Commissioner Leishman,
I have no comments this
Yep.
evening.
Commissioner Morey,
My only comment is that November 25th is Small Business Saturday, Save Gas, Shop Local.
Okay.
Commissioner Draconis.
I just heard tonight that Illinois is gonna have a license plate featuring monarchs, and there's gonna be money used to plant milkweed
Okay,
throughout the
Ooh,
state.
I like
I
that.
just heard that tonight, yeah. Small business. And if anybody else wants to join us on the 28th, please feel free to do that.
For
And
the
once
tree
again, it's
decorating?
The tree
Yeah.
decorating?
Yeah. 3:30, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Greco.
No comments.
Okay. I'm just gonna mention, I talked that I attended or joined the Illinois Water Environment Association. And they had a plant operations workshop and tour, and it was at the Downers Grove Sanitary District. And it was really impressive. They have a lot of different programs. Of course, they collect cooking oil, but they have they are a net zero facility. They have a combined heat and power. So they have 2 large anaerobic digesters, and the methane gas that produces those anaerobic digesters produce is sufficient that they refine it and they actually sell it to Nicor. So really, fascinating. They produce Class A biosolids or sludge. When Class A means that you can distribute it to your residents, to your park district, and they do that. So the biosolids, what Saw Creek does is we don't have Class A. We have a sludge hauler that puts it on farm fields that produces crops for animals. The other thing that they do is they have
Sorry,
Commissioner
just a question. So Class A means that it is suitable as fertilizer for things of human consumption?
Exactly.
Okay.
Correct, yeah. So they also collect from restaurants and 2 breweries. They call it grease, but what's left over from the brewing process or from the cooking process, they feed that into their anaerobic digesters, and they actually make $200,000 a year collecting grease from restaurants. So it was really fascinating what they do. They're a much bigger district by about 20 times than Saw Creek. So they're like, I think their max is 100 million gallons per day. I think ours is 5 million gallons per day. So, but just.
Well, people, we're just gonna have to flush more.
Yeah, just really fascinating. There were other presenters there. There's actually a kind of a mini crisis in that field because people are not going into, they don't want to work at a sanitary district. But the director from Moline, and I should also mention that Downers Grove, they have the sanitary district, but they also are taking the collection system, where the collection system here in Villa Park is the village's responsibility. And one of the things that they did was they attacked the I&I, which affects how much they have to process. And they really tightened up their system a lot so that they didn't get a lot of infiltration into the system, which means the more infiltration you have, that means the more you have to process. So just really fascinating. Seems to be a very well-run organization. So
What's the name of the Illinois?
it's the Illinois Water Environment Association,
Okay.
but it was held at Downers Grove
yeah.
Sanitary District. So they take in Downers Grove, tiny part of Lombard, Oak Brook, part of Oak Brook Terrace, I think a part of Lamont, Westmont. It's a big area. Yeah. And that's all I've got. Okay, Village Board Liaison comments. Mike, anything?
Not from the board, staff.
Oh, yeah, his staff.
Lombard contacted us, the village, with regards to our battery recycling and pens and marker recycling. I was very familiar with our battery recycling, as that's part of our LRS contract. They supply the buckets for us and pickup. I was, to be honest, not very familiar with, other than we have a box.
Right.
So I believe it might have been a ECC maybe
It
initiative.
was, yes.
And so they were trying to get, and I kind of looked it up, and it's like Teco or Terra,
Ecoterra,
Terra Recycling or something.
or not Ecoterra,
Yeah, I think it's TerraCycle.
TerraCycle, there we go.
So I just wanted to kind of confirm, because it looks like it's an online program where we maybe have purchased a box and then it's full, we ship it back.
Right, so that actually started long ago, and I don't know, how full is that box now?
It's about 3/4 of the way full.
Okay,
That's why I was just kind of, so I just wanted to make sure that I was on the right track, because Lombard had asked us, and
so we, in our budget, we actually figured in the shipping for that. And TerraCycle has a variety of programs as well.
yeah, they have a Taco Bell sauce.
A what?
A Taco Bell sauce recycling. I know that's
Oh,
my
the
favorite.
packets?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
sauce packets, but
Yeah.
Taco Bell
There's
sponsors
a
it.
lot of things that they
Oh, okay.
that they collect, yeah.
So any sauce packet, but Taco Bell sponsors it, yeah.
Yeah, I found that one amusing, because
Yeah.
I'm guilty of not throwing them away and having a drawer full of sauces until like
no
2 or 3
dates on it.
years, and then it's like,
Then you're afraid to eat them, yeah.
okay, so yeah, I was just following up, but I know per their program online, it seems like they will give you a prepaid shipping package label, but I'm assuming, I know it's been there since I've been there, so it's probably 3 to 4 years
Yes,
plus.
so,
I don't know if we have that label still.
so, I don't know how many people remember Just Spivak.
Yes, right.
So Just Spivak was the one that
Yeah.
got us.
I just wrote a thing about that. My post was about that.
That's probably why Lombard contacted us, was the social
It
media
might have been
post.
because they contacted Donnie, who then
Right, so
contacted Cheryl, which then
we
got
sent,
over to us.
Well,
we sent something to Donnie about the markers and the batteries, and that was
Yeah.
in Village Matters.
Yeah, so I think that was their,
oh, okay.
somehow got to Lombard, and so I think they're looking at the
Okay.
program. I think they're looking for more, but I know our battery it's been long-standing, and it's kind of set up in our contract with,
Yeah.
So
similar with our electronic recycling is actually set up with LRS, where they give us a fund.
And
which they help
actually,
fund.
Commissioner Greco suggested we do an item on that.
On which the,
Submission for Village Matters about batteries and the TerraCycle.
was that me?
I thought it was you.
It might have been, because I do feel like people need to know about
Right.
especially the pen drop off.
Well, that was the last post I did.
So
Oh,
if
so
you
she
think
did it
it's
already.
time for us to ship that to TerraCycle, we'll handle that.
Well, one was Lombard reached out, and to be
Gotcha.
honest, I was not overly familiar, other than I knew we had a site, and then talking with my staff, they were not overly familiar, so I was just making sure. I went
That
and looked
somebody
at
was
it.
handling it,
I
yeah.
went down and looked at it and saw the logo and research. So
Yeah.
it sounds like that was the correct information to pass back.
Yeah.
That, like I said, it looks on their website. It seems kind of like the next tracks. It's similar, but they have a whole lot of programs of different ones that you can do in your home or different stuff. Like I know it's like probably the K cups and all that, which I know was popular and still very popular. Of trying to get a recycling program for those K cups. But
I think the Ville Park Library does.
the K cups.
I think so. I think in their little
I guess
lobby
I
thing,
call
there's, yeah.
K cups is the name, right? But
That,
Yeah.
that's, it's like diapers. They'll never go away. Is the battery thing over there too?
yes, it's in our
Okay,
lobby,
okay.
and I think it was mentioned. I think when things got shifted, they kind of got shoved behind a few
Okay.
things, and we've moved them back out to front and center.
Thank you.
And I think I think another one I did notice looking through the notes since I was Kevin Mantles attending my spot. We don't have official plans, but it is my plans to look at possible charging stations at the metro location. That kind of our public works group through the DMMC does have some information, so I was just kind of
I
waiting.
didn't hear the last part you said.
The DMMC, a few other communities have it, so there's a whole lot of different things that have to be worked through there, so I was kind of waiting for them to fine tune all the details. Because it gets into, I believe, one location, they're having issues with people parking and using that as a parking spot while they're charging their car and hogging it up all day. It turns into some legal issues in terms of how do we, the electricity and stuff, so that is a goal of mine, is to look at charging stations there. It's just, I'm kind of
At the
filtering
metro
through.
station?
Yeah. And then similar here, that gets into legalities of, if a public agency has it, does it have to be available for public use? And then it gets into, so, I think a new village hall was created and they have one, and for certain hours it's reserved for staff, other hours it has to be available for, so there's some fine tuning that goes through all that, so I was kind of waiting for the bigger communities with more staff to
And I'll just
work
mention,
through it, and then I
Sorry,
will borrow it.
Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus actually had a training program for EV charging stations, and they just had the graduation of their of a cohort, because they cover all aspects of charging stations. So Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus, if you need information, you may not, but they have a variety of sources.
Like this one, was a lot of information from neighboring communities in DuPage.
Gotcha.
Because similarly, most of us have the same sort of franchise with ComEd, and a few of the same sort of
Challenges.
yeah. Like it was kind of interesting was, by putting them in, you didn't think about it, but people were using it as essentially a free parking stall for the metro. So they have it up, if you're more than 4 hours, you get ticketed.
You may know that the
Or double the
library,
charge or something, and where it's,
Yeah.
they give you 2 hours free energy, and then the rest is at a significant rate so that people don't sit in that stall.
You know, just for your information, at the north side of the station, at the Metro lot, you've got 2 spots that are UP spots. One's for the swing collector, and I believe one's for the agent. There's no longer a swing collector, and there's no longer an agent. So that might be a good spot to think about.
The signs are still up, but they don't exist. Oh, that's
Yeah.
great, yeah. I'm curious about the charging stations. Does it make money for the village or cost money for the village? I'm not sure how
So there's a
that.
couple different ways to do it. There's a lot of third parties that will come in and pretty much install and do all that. And then usually they do want
A
like
cut.
4 cents an hour,
Yeah.
or different stuff, a cut from it.
You probably know about ChargePoint.
Yeah, there's a few, yeah.
Yeah, you can swipe your credit card and you can charge your,
And none of them have apps. Then like those stations, a lot of them have apps for your phone that will, you put $20 on or whatever, and it will charge. So it depends on how you set them up and different things. So it gets into it, but that was a goal of mine. Unfortunately, we do have a few other things, and
Yeah.
the
right?
uncertainty of the location up there with some development kind of also derailed. But
I was up at Target recently and I happened to just observe, they have that whole bank of charging stations. I think it's superchargers for Teslas,
yeah, so Target, my understanding, partnered with Tesla.
Tesla.
I
And
think
those
there's
things are,
two types of chargers, and if you shop, the slow one is free, but but it's intended, I think, to get you to go inside and shop. If you want the superchargers, I think you have to pay for the electricity for the superchargers.
but there was a continuous flow of cars coming in and out of there.
Yeah.
So,
I'm always amazed. There's a movie theater.
What's that?
There's a movie theater next to my son's rink, and they're usually full. Like with charging, people will charge while they're watching a movie.
yeah, I think they have are there 16 charging stations up there? I don't know.
That one I don't remember. I do remember the permanent. I just don't know the number
Yeah,
of them.
yeah.
But it's I think a Target-wide incentive to do that. But to me, I think it's a great marketing policy too. If people come and you have 20, 30 minutes to kill while you wait for your car to charge to go, they're probably spending more money inside Target than they
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
for electricity. But no, yeah, Target is on it. But I did see that in the minutes. I think Commissioner Maury had done it. So that is a thing that we're kind of looking at, but there's a little bit to it. So I was kind of waiting for the other communities to fine tune the details and challenges before implementing it here.
Well, thank you for looking into it. I think it'd
Yeah.
be a great addition to the station.
Well, thanks for that information. So, okay. I think that's it on our agenda. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
Is there a second?
Of course.
I was waiting for you to make the motion, but you kind of.
I know my role was second. I had to second motions.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Thank you.
So, Downers